The brain is built up during pregnancy. How it functions later on depends on how it has been nourished by the expectant mother's diet over the 9 months. Felis Jacka, a professor at the University of Melbourne, says that the mothers who ate more junk and processed foods during their pregnancy, their children had behaviors such as anger and aggression. Children's diet seemed to be important as well, independent of what mother ate. If children were eating too much junk food or not enough healthy food, they had more of this anger and aggression type behavior, and also sadness, anxiety, worry, and nightmare. Professor Jacka's conclusions have been confirmed by studies in Spain, Netherlands, and Canada. In laboratory at the University of Bordeaux, scientists studying the consequences of dietary deficiencies on mouse brain conducted an experiment to measure anxiety with a mouse. Without omega-3 fatty acids, the brain does not develop and function normally. The mouse was more anxious and stressed than a normal mouse. The brain's grey matter is 90% fat, which it cannot produce itself. It has to come from our diet. Oily fish, organ meat, seeds and nuts, such as almonds, and also vegetable oils, have long been the main source of omega-3 for humans. Dr. Caroline Hubbard did an experiment feeding hamsters exclusively corn. During breeding, Caroline observed behavioral disturbance in female hamsters, resulted in hyperaggression and hypersensitivity, and the female hamsters devoured their young the first day after birth. This behavior was observed in more than 80% female hamsters. A dietary deficiency was enough to make a hamster devour its children. Caroline says that the vitamin B3 deficiency is at the origin of this abnormal behavior. When Caroline supplemented the hamsters with vitamin B3 in addition to the corn-based diet, they expressed quite normal behavior, and they began to nurse their young. At the Institute of Psychology of the University of Lübeck in Germany, Professor Soo-Young Park has for the first time proven that the food we eat can influence our thoughts and decisions. She proved that people who consume or follow a high protein diet show more tolerance to unfair situations, and conversely, people who consume or follow a high carbohydrate diet are less tolerant. What we eat can within hours subtly alter the chemistry of the brain. And thus the communication between the neurons, enough to guide some of our decisions. In Australia, at the University of Sydney, Margaret Morris runs a laboratory. In her laboratory, she experimented with rats, feeding them junk foods. She fed them with chips, cakes, and biscuits. As a consequence of this diet, the rat doubled its food ratio and also damaged its spatial memory. They point to damages in hippocampus, a small region nestled in the center of the brain. It is essential for learning and consolidation of memory. Serge Ahmed, one of the first to provide proof that sugar has more addictive potential than drugs. It is perhaps even stronger than the pull of hard drugs such as cocaine, and heroin. Researchers revealed that habitual consumption of energy-dense food alters the neural circuitry, exactly the same way of consumption of drugs. At the Oregon Research Institute, Dr. Eric Stice conducted a research. He recruited about 100 students, half of whom regularly eat ice cream, while others never eat it. His research revealed that regular intake of energy-dense food reduced the feeling of pleasure one experiences while consuming those foods. Reward circuit is a region of the brain that controls the feeling of pleasure. It is particularly responsive to sugar consumption, but eating too much ends up weakening its responsiveness. This experiment also revealed that after a diet too rich in sugar, the brain becomes hypersensitive to images of food, which prompts eating in the absence of hunger. That drives obesity and weight gain. Dr. Carlos Ribeiro and his team are leading researchers on food choices. Ribeiro wants to find all the components, genes, molecules and neurons which direct feeding decisions. So he developed a machine that monitors insects' food choices in great detail. He has been able to prove that the main reason for choosing food is first of all deficiencies. Flies lacking protein chose protein-rich food, but this was not always the case. He also found out that flies, when choosing their diet, are also influenced by the bacteria in their gut. There are two specific gut microbes which have very important influence on protein cravings in flies. At the University College Cork in Ireland, Professor John Cryer has been able to prove that gut bacteria can influence certain behavior. Our well-being depends on our microbiome. Now scientists even consider the microbiome to be a kind of intermediary, a link between food and the brain. The main factor that influences the composition of these microbes is the food we take. Diet and the diversity of the diet is really important from the moment we are born until we die in shaping the composition of the microbes. A diet that is good for our mood is first and foremost a diet that is suitable for the bacteria in our intestine. Felice thinks that the diversity in the healthy food that we eat lead to more diversity in the gut microbiota. And that diversity in the gut has been linked to good health outcomes. There are many other factors that influence our behavior, mental health, and happiness. To know more, be part of our Wonder World.